Hi guys, welcome to our channel Bracers Tube. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe. In this session, I am going to discuss in detail on activator, and these are the contents that I am going to explain in detail. Introduction, history, synonyms, mode of action, components, construction by trimming and modifications. So, before beginning our session, we need to know what does activator mean. Activator, the name itself denotes its ability to activate muscle forces by means of an appliance which is of tooth-borne passive. Coming to history of activator, Kingsley in 1879 named as vulcanite palatal plate used in patients having retruded mandible. This vulcanite palatal plate consists of anterior incline which guides the mandible to a forward position as patient closes on it, and Hodds named it as Warby's plate used to treat retrognathism associated with deep bite, and Pi Robin in 1902 named it as monoblock used in glossoptosis patients. In these patients, because of retrognathic or small mandible, they will be falling back of tongue due to lack of tongue space, leading to airway obstruction. And later, Viggo Anderson in 1908 used this loose-fitting appliance on his daughter going for 3 months vacation. On her return, he found a marked sagittal correction and improvement of facial profile, so-called biomechanical working retainer. And Viggo Anderson, along with Carl Hoppel, named it as functional jaw orthopedics. And coming to synonyms of activator, it is known as monoblock appliance as it consists of single block, and Anderson appliance as it was invented by Viggo Anderson, and biomechanical working retainer. By using these appliance, they have found marked sagittal correction and improvement of facial profile. And Norwegian appliance, Anderson moved to Norway and teamed up with Hoppel, and as it was invented in Norway, it is known as Norwegian appliance. And now coming into mode of action. These are the 3 main points to explain how an activator works. It includes myotactic reflex, condylar adaptation and viscoelastic property. I will be explaining them in detail in the next slides. According to Anderson and Hoppel, the activator induces new pattern of mandibular closure. So, activator, a loose-fitting appliance. The patient has to move the mandible forward to engage the appliance. So, there will be stretching of elevator muscles of mastication. What are elevator muscles of mastication? This includes masseter, medial pterygoid and temporalis. As muscles stretch, they will start contracting, leading to myotactic reflex. So, what is myotactic reflex? It is a neural mechanism that responds to change in muscle length, that is stretching, by attempting to resist the change in length. The changes in length are detected by proprioceptors called muscle spindles. And this whole process is important in holding the jaw against the gravity. And now coming to mechanism of myotactic reflex, it occurs in 5 steps. Initially, there will be stretching of muscle stimulates muscle spindles, and this information is received from external stimuli to brain by activation of sensory neuron, and in the brain the information is processed at the motor neuron, and then the information is sent to the muscles by activation of motor neuron, leading to contraction of muscle. So, as I said before, the elevator muscle stretches and then a protective reflex is elicited and starts contracting. When it contracts, this will set up myotactic reflex. This myotactic reflex will generate kinetic energy. This kinetic energy prevents further forward growth of maxillary dentoalveolar process and distal diving force of maxillary dentoalveolar process and a reciprocal forward force on the mandible. Addition to myotactic reflex, we also have condylar adaptation, that is backward and upward growth of condyle. I repeat, backward and upward growth of condyle, and some amount of force is generated while swallowing and sleeping, leading to stretching of muscles and soft tissues, causing passive tension. This is called viscoelastic property. This viscoelastic property generates potential energy, which leads to movement of teeth. Now coming to components of activator, it consists of following elements: acrylic components and wire components. Acrylic components, which consist of maxillary part, mandibular part and interocclusal part. Thus, activator is a unified upper and lower Hawley-like appliances joined together with pre-recorded interocclusal portion, and wire components, which include labial bow. Coming to construction bite, it is an intermaxillary wax record used to relate maxilla to mandible in 3 dimensions of space. A brief introduction of how a construction bite is recorded was already explained in our previous video, that is myofunctional appliance, its basics. If you haven't watched it, please check it out. Link is given in the description box below. So, what is the purpose of construction bite? It is to advance the mandible into an acceptable forward position. And coming to general consideration, in case of large overjet, the forward advancement should be done stepwise in 2 to 3 phases instead of full advancement at a stretch. And the forward positioning and the vertical opening of mandible should follow the rule of 8. That is, the horizontal advancement and the vertical opening should not exceed 8 mm in total. Suppose, if the horizontal advancement of mandible is 6 mm, vertical opening should be only 2 mm. That is 6 plus 2 is equal to 8 mm. And vertical opening should be beyond freeway space. There are various means of recording construction bite. First one, construction bite with marked mandibular forward positioning. Here there will be marked mandibular forward positioning with minimal vertical opening. As there is more horizontal advancement, it is known as H activator, and this type of activator is given in severely retruded mandible cases. And second one, construction bite with slight mandibular forward positioning. Here there will be slight mandibular forward positioning with extreme vertical opening. As there is more vertical opening, it is known as V activator, and this type of activator is given in deep bite cases. And third one, construction bite with opening and posterior positioning of mandible. This is done in class 3 malocclusion cases. In such cases, as we need to bring into class 1, we need to bring the mandible back. So, during recording construction bite, we need to position the mandible posteriorly. As we all know, in class 3 malocclusion, there will be anterior crossbite. So, sufficient vertical opening should be done to correct the anterior crossbite by unlocking the existing bite. And now coming to trimming of activator, it is done in all 3 planes. Trimming of activator for vertical control, trimming of activator for sagittal control, and movement of teeth in the transverse plane. So before going into trimming of activator, you should have a clear idea about the greatest convexity of the teeth to avoid confusion, which helps in better understanding in our upcoming slide. What is greatest convexity? It is curved or rounded prominent surface, that means outward surface of the teeth. So above the greatest convexity for the maxillary teeth is placed gingivally, but in mandible it is placed incisally. And below the area of greatest convexity in the maxillary teeth is present incisally, and in the mandible it is gingivally. Trimming of activator for vertical control, which means intrusion and extrusion. Coming to intrusion, intrusion of incisors is achieved by loading the incisal edges of these teeth with acrylic, and labial bow should be placed incisally, that is below the area of greatest convexity. And in case intrusion of posteriors is needed, then only the cusp tips are loaded with acrylic, and fossa and fissures are free of acrylic. Coming to extrusion, for the extrusion of incisors, the lingual surface is loaded above the area of greatest convexity in the maxilla and below the area of greatest convexity in the mandible. I repeat, above the area of greatest convexity in the maxilla and below in the mandible. And labial bow should be placed in the gingival 1/3 of the labial surface, that is below the area of greatest convexity. And in case of molars, extrusion is brought about by loading the lingual surface above the area of greatest convexity in the maxilla and below the area of greatest convexity in the mandible. And coming to trimming of activator for sagittal control, which means protrusion of incisors, retrusion of incisors and movement of posterior teeth in sagittal plane. Coming to protrusion of incisors, in case the incisors to be protruded, lingual surface of the teeth is loaded with acrylic and a passio-labial bow is given, that is kept away from the teeth to prevent perioral soft tissues contacting the teeth. Coming to retrusion of incisors, the acrylic is trimmed away from the lingual surface and an active labial bow is used to bring about retrusion of incisors. I repeat, for protrusion of incisors, we need to use passio-labial bow, but for retrusion of incisors, we need to use active labial bow. Coming to movement of posterior teeth in sagittal plane. The teeth in the buccal segment can be moved mesially and distally to help in treating class 2 and class 3 malocclusion. In class 2 malocclusion, the maxillary molars are allowed to move distally while the mandibular molars are allowed to move mesially by loading the maxillary mesiolingual surface and mandibular distolingual surface to achieve class 1 relationship. Coming to movement of teeth in transverse plane, it is possible to trim the activator to stimulate expansion of buccal segment. This is done by contacting of acrylic on the lingual surface of the teeth to be moved transversely. But better expansion is possible by placing a jack screw in the activator. Coming to modifications, these are bow activator of AM squats, cybernator of smooth, Karawatsky modification, propulsor, cutout or palatal free activator and Wunderer activator. There are 6 types of modifications. Coming to first one, that is bow activator of AM squats. This was designed by AM squats and indicated in class 2 division 1 malocclusion. It consists of jack screw which is incorporated to allow for arch expansion and elastic bow which helps to connect maxillary and mandibular portion. This type of activator mainly used in case of large overjet where we need to have a stepwise advancement of mandible, as I discussed earlier in general considerations of construction bite. This elastic bow helps in stepwise advancement of mandible. Coming to second one, that is reduced activator or cybernator. It was designed by GPF Smooth. Here, the major portion of acrylic is trimmed off. It resembles bionator with acrylic portion of activator reduced from maxillary anterior area, leaving a small flange of acrylic on the palatal slopes. We will be discussing in detail about bionator in our next video. Coming to third modification, that is Karawatsky modification. Here, maxillary and mandibular plates are joined by a U-bow placed in the first permanent molar region. This U-bow consists of long arm and short arm. This type of activator also allows stepwise advancement of mandible by adjustment of U-loop. So based on U-loop placement pattern, there are of 3 types. First one, class 2 division 1 malocclusion, class 3 malocclusion and used in facial asymmetry and lateral crossbite cases. Coming to the type 1, which is used in treatment of class 2 division 1 malocclusion. Normally, in class 2 cases, we need to move the mandible forward to bring into class 1. So, here the long arm should be placed posteriorly. And type 2, which is used in the treatment of class 3 malocclusion cases. Here, in order to bring the mandible into class 1, we need to move the mandible backward. So, the long arm should be placed anteriorly. Coming to the type 3, which is used in bringing asymmetric advancements of mandible. Long arm of U-bow attached anteriorly on one side and posteriorly on other side to allow asymmetric advancement of mandible. Coming to fourth modification, that is propulsor. It is designed by Mohiman and refined by Hotz. It combines the features of both actuator as well as oral screen. It does not have any wire components and made completely of acrylic. It combines actuator's interocclusal part and lingual part of mandible and buccal component of oral screen. Coming to the fifth modification, that is cutout or palatal free actuator, which is proposed by Metzeler. The mandibular portion is same as that of normal actuator, but in maxilla the palate remains free of acrylic, thereby making the appliance more convenient for the patients to wear the appliance for longer hours. Coming to the last modification, that is Wanderer actuator, designed by Wanderer and indicated in class 3 malocclusion cases. Here, maxilla and mandibular portions connected by a screw, which was designed by Weiss. By opening of the screw, the maxilla moves anteriorly and mandible moves posteriorly, that is with a reciprocal backward thrust on the mandibular portion. And here are some important key points in the topic of activator, which will be easy for you to remember and memorize them. Just sit and relax at the time of exams and quickly revise the key points, and you can easily remember the topic without any worry. And these are the key points for the modification of activator. And these are various questions asked in previous question papers of final year BDS examination regarding activator. Coming to the principles, you need to write about force application, as activator works on the principle of applying force on muscles and soft tissues. So, principles, definition and classification of myofunctional appliances, indications and contraindications are already discussed in our previous video, that is basics of myofunctional appliances. If you haven't watched, please do watch the video. Link is given in the description box below. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe. Share your views, doubts and suggestions regarding any topic in the comment box below. Our upcoming video will be on bionator. Thank you.